And that's kind of, what I'd like to be. I'd like to be an adventurer or a conqueror, out on some expedition. To me, that's what's manly, not physical violence. If you have to defend yourself, you have to defend yourself. And I'm definitely not saying that the cases we're talking about here are self-defense cases. But, just being an adventurer, doing something useful with your time, building a media operation like Alex Jones did. That's manly and masculine as far as I'm concerned, not saying that people need to be abusing their children. Spanking isn't parenting, it's child abuse. Now, once again, as I said earlier, if you spank your child to the point where you have to put them in the hospital, yes, that is child abuse, but a little pat on the butt, I don't see anything wrong with that. But, people don't like that. They want you to have these little hellion children running around and doing all these horrific things. We'll move faster now. The cultural, regional, and generational roots of spanking. A lot of people have their 2 cents on this. Why you should never spank your kids. And also we have Miss Condoleezza Rice. People are saying that she should take over the NFL. She's an avid NFL watcher. And now people are saying that this person who was involved in the Bush administration, also some yellow cake shenanigans going on in the Bush administration, not saying she was personally responsible for those, but some very questionable actions coming out of that administration. I really wouldn't want any of those guys, whether it's Bush, Cheney, Rice, or anybody else, to be involved in the NFL. And finally, we'll end on this because, everybody talks about we need better role models in the NFL. And I see this and I'm like, well, what's wrong with this guy? We see RG3, that's a quarterback for the Redskins, and he's told by the NFL not to wear his Jesus t-shirt. So you have a guy who's trying to be a positive role model in an organization that desperately needs one. He shows up saying, hey, I'm a man of faith. I want to just wear a very, it's a plain t-shirt. It just says no Jesus, no peace. And the NFL says, no, you can't have that because, we'd rather have these other guys out here doing all these wild things and have a respectable guy walk around in a t-shirt that says Jesus. You have the NFL, the no faith league, apparently. So that's it. That's my 2 cents on that. Like I said, not everybody in the NFL is collectively guilty for this stuff. But if you have good role models, let them be good role models. And hopefully they won't try to come into your household and tell you how to raise your children, because it goes from disciplining the locker room to trying to propagandize the entire stands. Well, that's it for this segment of the INFOWARS Nightly News, but stay tuned. We'll have a special report from Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs coming up right after this break.
Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. Celebrate the spirit of 1776 with the George Washington brass belt buckle or this incredibly sharp-looking 1776 hat. Badass. And be sure to check out the new arrivals at InfoWars Life, where you can prepare your body to perform at peak levels with Survival Shield Nascent Iodine, Super Male Vitality, and Fluoride Shield. And wake up, America. Immune Support Blend is the healthy choice for the gourmet coffee lover. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
I'm Joe Biggs with INFOWARS.com, here to analyze this Ebola crisis happening in Africa right now. Now, we know that yesterday the New York Times reported that U.S. will commit up to 3,000 troops to fight Ebola in Africa. Why are we sending armed military to fight Ebola? Well, let me tell you why. I think it is pretty much, I don't know if you listened to the show last week when I was at Ground Zero on the Alex Jones show. A lot of things that happen when we get ready to go into war, we need to use a humanitarian crisis like Ebola. A year ago from the September 11th memorial, President Obama came out on the eve and once again tried to beg the American people to back him in his fight against Syria. He wanted to, in essence, fund the Free Syrian Army again to help topple the Assad regime because there was a humanitarian crisis happening over there. Now, here we are again, a year later, and the president once again wants us to fund the Free Syrian Army, who we know helps and supports ISIS. Now, we're going to send these 3,000 troops to Africa. Well, there's a lot that we can gain from going into Africa. There's a lot of stuff that we know about what happens over there with human trafficking, with the narcotics, with diamonds, all this stuff. Right now, profits are soaring as Pentagon leans on private corporations for special ops. Now, it's kind of interesting because the United States Special Operations Command tendered a $1.5 billion contract that required support with psychological operations happening right there in Africa. Now we have a separate document related to the same contract noted that one purpose of the effort was to conduct market research for al-Qaeda and its affiliates in Libya, Tunisia, Mali, northern Nigeria, and Somalia. So we want to go down there. We want to take all these private corporations. We want these ex-Special Forces contractors to also be sent to Africa. Meanwhile, we have 3,000 troops that are going to be fighting Ebola. Well, I think that's funny because back in June, a powerful al-Qaeda branch in Yemen and northern Africa called for jihadists in Iraq and Syria to unite against all common threat from U.S.-led coalitions. But both the Yemen-based and the northern African-based networks rejected ISIS's declaration of an Islamic caliphate in June and said they remain loyal to al-Zarqawi, the leader of al-Qaeda. What does that sound like to you? Well, just a few days ago, last week, entire leadership of ISIS opposition wiped out by an unexplained explosion. We are taking out people who really want to fight ISIS, who don't like them, given they don't like us as well. But we want our Frankenstein to grow. We want our Frankenstein to terrorize the world. We don't want this rogue group that we don't have any control over anymore, because right now we still have ISIS in our pockets. And let's go back to 9/11, 2 days before September 11th. On the 9th, the leader of the Northern Alliance commander, Hamad Shah Massoud, was mortally wounded in a kamikaze assassination. Now, this event had a direct bearing not only for our understanding of 9/11, but also on the U.S. NATO-sponsored war and occupation of Afghanistan. Now, had Shah Massoud not been assassinated, the U.S. administration would not have been able to install their political puppet, Hamid Karzai. So this all is starting to add up right now. I think this Ebola crisis in Africa is a beard for what we want to do. Now, in my group in Afghanistan, I used to go on a lot of humanitarian missions as well. And what we would do is we'd go out on convoys, hand out food. Well, before we would go do that, just miles ahead of that area, we would drop off OGA, other government agencies, special op guys, counterterrorism, FBI, things like that, and they would go off and do these other missions, go after what their real target was. The humanitarian part was just a beard. Now we're going to go to a clip from the Obama deception, where in this documentary, it clearly states that President Obama will lead the invasion into Africa.
Number 6, Obama is already pushing to expand the Department of Defense budget and to station more U.S. troops overseas to encircle Russia, China, Iran, as well as setting up bases in Africa under the pretext of humanitarian aid, and dominate and occupy Africa through AFRICOM.
So we're taking your phone call, seeing what you think of Barack H. Obama. Is he a Judas goat? Is he a front man? Is he a betrayer? Let's go to Anthony in Georgia. Anthony, what's your take on Barack Obama?
They put the face of Barack Obama as part of their public relations because it's like in the old folk tales about vampires. A vampire cannot force his way into somebody's house. It's against some kind of metaphysical law. So the vampire has to persuade the resident of the household to open the door and invite him in. So they're going to look at the peephole at Barack Obama, which looks like them and appears to be on their side. They're going to say, okay, here's my ally. Let me open the door and let me let this person in. And then Barack Obama is just, of course, a front man for the American empire, where he's going to have the entire U.S. Navy, the entire U.S. Army, and the entire U.S. Marines under AFRICOM command. And, of course, he's going to turn it into a new Iraq, and he's going to turn it into a new Afghanistan. Every operation that you see going on in Iraq and Afghanistan is going to propagate to the poor countries of Africa. And
well, sir, I agree with you. Sir, I agree with you. They're looking to the people. They see a handsome, smiling African face. You know, he's all, hey, I'm from Kenya. And then it's a total bait and switch. But it's the same thing here in the United States where they would get sellout Native American chiefs to sell out their people. This is the oldest trick in the book. And he can also pacify the most downtrodden minority groups in the United States. And he's saying, hey, get ready for sacrifice. Get ready to lose your standard of living. They're like, yay, I love Obama. They could never get away with this with a John McCain.
Obama basically does a couple of things. One is, again, this idea, kick the Chinese out of Africa. Kick them out of Sudan where they get oil. Kick them out of Zimbabwe where they get raw materials. Start a civil war in Congo, another big source of raw materials. Al-Qaeda, an arm of the U.S. intelligence community, is now active in Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco. You've got a destabilization going on in Kenya around Odinga. That's Obama's cousin. This is a guy who has two children. They're Obama's niece and, nephew in a broad sense. And one of them is named Raul, and the other one is named Winnie, after Winnie Mandela, who did the necklacing and political assassinations in South Africa. So this Odinga is essentially a CIA destabilizing operation in Kenya, and he's got a Odinga Islamic Alliance to crush the Christians in Kenya, but this also reaches into Ethiopia, it reaches into Uganda, Congo, Tanzania, and a whole bunch of other countries in that region. So all of Africa is a battlefield in flames between the U.S. and the Chinese, with Obama leading the charge to kick the Chinese out for geopolitical reasons.
Well, that's it for our show tonight, but if you like this broadcast and you would like to see it continue, stop by prisonplanet.tv and get yourself a 15-day free trial. You can get the Alex Jones Show, the nightly news, the special reports, the rants, and so much more at prisonplanet.tv. Well, I'm Jakari Jackson from the INFOWARS Command Center, and we'll see you again tomorrow night. You are watching the INFOWARS Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcodes with up to 11 other people, and your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.
You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.